You're gonna what?
Number 3, I'm dunking.
You think you're playing varsity?
Oh, absolutely.
I was gonna say, I think it's absolutely. You're not dunking. You're block 8, Jay. I think I was.
You don't. You never ever talk to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on Fred. I'm gonna pretend to be on. No.
Yes, I did.
I withdraw.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Mark my word, December 25th.
Yeah, 6 foot goal, maybe.
Is he okay?
On a 10-foot ball.
Jay, you can barely touch the net.
No.
No. No, you're not.
All right, folks, let's get quiet, please. Close up your laptops. Notes out. And we are going to finish up our notes today. So we ended up on our last discussion looking at Alexander the Great, Alexander the Great's legacies, what he left as a cultural legacy, what he left as a legacy to the Greeks. And that moves us into our last part of our discussion is this idea of Hellenistic kingdoms. So one of the things that's going to happen, again, and it always happens when either a leader dies young or a leader dies at his height of his power, is that they haven't ever really prepared for what comes next. So Alexander died very young, very unexpectedly, as his kingdom is exploding. And so we have difficulty in figuring out who's going to lead this empire once he is dead. So what happens is all of his generals, and this will be where sometimes that, remember I told you that there's like 30% of historians believe that Alexander was poisoned. This will be the cause of that, these Macedonian generals who will start to take over. And that is who will be vying for this empire. And it's never really a good idea when generals who have charges of large armies are fighting over who gets what, because it's not just political fighting then, it's like real fighting, like warfare fighting. And so what will happen, and we should already know this from our previous studies, that anytime a big empire is split down into smaller pieces, we pretty much should already know all of those pieces are going to collapse. And so we break this into 4 Hellenistic kingdoms: Macedonia, Syria, Pergamum, and Egypt. You do have to know that for a test, but it's a multiple choice. So I don't make you list them, but you will have to make sure that you choose those out of a multiple choice. I want you to know that because how spread and far apart these Hellenistic kingdoms are, and the generals that are not now only going to be warring against each other, they're going to have to now defend those borders against other invasion or other invaders. The second part is why some of those historians believe that perhaps Alexander was poisoned is some of the Greeks did not like Alexander's thought processes about the acceptance and the inclusion of other groups. So these Hellenistic kingdoms, or these now Hellenistic monarchs, are going to get rid of Alexander's ideas of acceptance and will only allow Greeks and Macedonians in their ruling classes. So everything that Alexander built up about this idea of unity, accepting other cultures, will quickly be removed with these generals. Hellenistic rulers encouraged a massive spread of Greek colonists throughout Southwest Asia. And again, the idea is to spread all things Greek, to spread this giant idea of Greek culture. So what does that look like? It looks like a big, huge time of awesome cultural achievement. So even though this occurs because Alexander dies and the kingdom split up and generals go to war with each other, the outcome of this is pretty significant. The most important cultural center will be Alexandria, and Alexandria will be home to scholars. And we'll go back to that big giant library. It's already there because the Assyrians put it there, but now it really kind of comes into bloom with Alexandria becoming home to scholars and poets and writers, and Alexandria becomes this giant cultural center. Pergamum will be the cultural center in Asia Minor, and Asia Minor is modern day Turkey. So that Hellenistic culture is centered around the idea that writing things down is very important, and preserving that written word is very important. The other part that we've looked at is architecture and sculpture. Hellenistic kings spend lots and lots of money building their new cities. Baths. So again, baths are kind of weird things to think about why you would do that, but baths are more like spas, and these spas are gender specific. And what happens at these spas, and they were built with, and they actually had hot water, there would be a lot of business done. There would be politics. It would kind of just be very similar to like a day spa for both men and women. Yes.
Did people back then like take showers?
We don't have showers, but baths. So here's the difference, and here's what's going to happen to hygiene. Greeks, very hygienic. Romans, very hygienic. And then we're going to get hit with this plague, and then everything's going to go downhill with hygiene. They had, I think, trying to borrow something that would make sense to you, essential oils. So not necessarily soap like what we think, but oils. And that would be in the baths. Greeks washed their hair. They plucked body hair, which sometimes is part of trapping odor in places like under your arms. So Greeks, Romans, a couple like Syrians, mostly those people that live in hot climates, they were, comparatively speaking, very hygienic, meaning they took care of their body. We're going to hit the end of Rome, and we're going to go into this plague, and then downhill. Where no, if we pretended that this class could exist in 1650, yeah, it'd be some funk up in here, like bad, because it yeah.
They'd probably be like nose blind.
Right. Well, one of the reasons is there's baths. Like Romans have public toilets, right? So there's not poop and pee all around. But when we get to the demise of Europe with the plague, and we're going to lose millions of people to this plague, and we create this very poor class of peasants in Europe, and you're living in a house not much bigger than this with your whole family, having an opportunity to take a bath is not feasible. It just doesn't work. So that's what.
Was the bath like in the open? So like
yeah.
Like
it looks like if you could take like a hot tub and just kind of make it like a public swimming pool kind of thing.
So they wore clothes one day.
Yeah. 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 It's.
So they couldn't really get clean.
Yeah, maybe.
They had told me.
They had rags. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'd be like sandpaper.
Sometimes, maybe.
Yeah, I bet that's.
But that, yeah. Do what? That will be the problem with the plague. Yeah. We spend a lot of time discussing the plague. So, do what?
Can't that just keep spreading?
It did. It spread for different times. All right. So also built temples, sculptures. So that's our architecture and sculptures. And those of you that chose this as your Greek choice board assignment, you know lots of this stuff. Science, this will be one of the things that is really important when we get into both two topics, when we move to the Romans, and then when we really, really fast forward to the 1450s, and we hit this time period called the Renaissance. It's a renewal of all things Greek. And the Europeans, after being stuck in this Middle Ages, Dark Ages, will come out of that and rediscover all of this science, such as the theory that the sun is the center of the universe and that the earth rotates around the sun. We know that from the Greeks. This guy named Copernicus tries to say it. This guy named Galileo tries to say it. Poor Galileo says it, and he is arrested and put under house arrest for the rest of his life. And again, determined that the earth is round. We always have known that the earth is round. Christopher Columbus did nothing to discover that the earth was round. He knew it was round. Your elementary teachers still aren't telling you that, are they? Please tell me that they're not.
That dude was a good man.
That what?
That dude was a good man.
Yeah,
That
people
Columbus?
Yeah, people act like he's a good guy.
Deserved his own death.
Homeboy started the code.
I will just say, I'm not going to say much, but I have a whole lot of history shirts that are not school acceptable, but I'm going to wear them on my last year of teaching. Like no.
Not saying it's your last year, but
No, I will tell you one of them is about Columbus, and it says, "Happy Columbus Day. Let me come into your house and take your stuff."
that's not
but-
appropriate.
It's not really, and the fact that I'm recording this will mean I'm not recording this, and I'm going to record 6th hour instead. How many are you taking geometry right now? Geometry. You have the Greeks to thank for that. Mr. Euclid. Do you guys actually have a book? Do you have a textbook that's somewhere? So today, if you haven't been to Mr. Boyd's room yet, look at that textbook and look for this name right here. It will be Euclid. It's actually what the name of geometry is. It's called Euclid's Geometry. We talk at the end of this class. Your last big assignment will be, and everybody loves to talk about this, I let you time travel back through time and visit places. I have the most awesome projects because some of you love this so much. You build machines to go back in it and you tell me about it, and it's awesome. And one person, she's a senior this year, and I always love when she did projects. She gave me like a little trunk that had trinkets that she picked up. It's an awesome project. I love it so much. But I always love the people that want to go back, and I don't let you do this, but you ask me, like, can I go back and do harm to Euclid so geometry never exists? I know. Who would not want to go back and take care of that? But these Greeks, their science that they do, the calculation of the Earth's circumference is done from Alexandria. He never leaves Alexandria. And he gets the circumference. I don't even try to pronounce his name. I skip over that because I do not know how to say that. But he calculates the circumference of the Earth within a mile, which is fairly phenomenal with the idea of using mathematics to do that. Archimedes establishes the value of pi without a
You
calculator.
want us to write this real big?
What?
You want us to write this as huge?
Yes, it's because it's on the last page and I can't have 4 to split up with. Archimedes is also going to invent machines to help the military. And any of you that did the science portion of that, you focus on science of the Greeks, probably one of the first things that popped up was Archimedes' water screw. It is a really important, simple machine for moving water uphill. Still used in pumping and irrigation in just about every wastewater treatment plant, power plants. This is Archimedes' water screw, and it just goes backwards and moves water uphill. It is the perfect simple machine. That's simple machines are part of physics, meaning things like levers or pulleys, very simple machines that do very impactful work. And Archimedes does that. So the Greeks give us a lot of great scientists. And when we hit the Renaissance, which I think maybe most of you have maybe at least heard that word, it's the Ninja Turtles, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo are painters. The Renaissance is the rebirth of all things Greek. And so we're going to rediscover all of this Greek stuff. But the problem in the Renaissance will be, at that point, Europe is a Christianized nation. It's a Christianized country. So how, as this Catholic Church, can you idolize pagans? And so that will give us a whole different scheme of things. So does anybody have questions about this last end? This is called the Hellenistic era, when everyone wanted to be Greek. The science and advancements will be part of that cultural legacy left of the Greeks that everyone is going to strive to be able to do. Okay? All right, so our last assignment, in case you haven't noticed, I always try to switch up when we've written a lot of stuff. I always try to switch up and change to some kind of creative topic. So this one is a phone. Whose phone is this? You can pick any person that we have talked about in this whole chapter. Anybody that we have talked about. I would like you to, if you want to be an Athenian or a Spartan, to not just necessarily be a warrior. But you can choose anybody, and then you're going to put a wallpaper on their phone that reflects them. I think you have to give me 2 text messages from 2 people. And then my favorite thing of all is the playlist of songs that will be on their phone.
That's
It's kind of like a choice word.
exactly what he wanted. That's what
For those of the, so some people avoided certain parts of it. But, so, you must choose one person, and you can choose any person from this chapter. Record the name at the top of this phone. So make sure you put the person that you are, although I should figure it out. You may choose a specific person, Archimedes, you could be, Pericles, you could be Socrates, you could be Plato. If I'm doing this phone, I think the philosophers would be the most awesome people to do for this phone, because you could have all kinds of weird songs on this thing. Sketch the person's phone wallpaper with color pencils, then explain why this image choice would appeal to this person. So you're going to sketch it on the phone, and then underneath number 1, you're going to tell me why that sketch would be to that person. Okay? The second one, underneath number 2, this person just received 2 text messages. Thinking back over our readings of chapter 4, explain which other people just sent messages to this person and the content of each message. So give me messages. You may, let me just say this, you may use text, speak, or whatever, but you got to know I don't know all of it. So some of those things that you guys do, I don't know. I just now figured out the big giant long one that says, in case you missed this. Is that the IC block? That long one. You guys probably don't even do that. I just figured out what that meant like 2 days ago. I'm 2 days old when I found out, in case you missed this. And then number 3 is playlist. Just 3 songs that would likely be on this person's playlist. Be sure to explain your reasoning as to why these 3 songs would appeal to him or her. We don't have a lot of hers. You could be an Athenian woman or a Spartan woman. But this is one of my favorite assignments. We'll do this. I would like to do it every chapter, but I know you guys get bored with it. So I think I save it for one other time, second semester, that when we do, I think it's when we do the Renaissance that you guys can do it again. Okay? This is due on Monday. This is our last assignment. We're done with notes, so that means that this will be in class today and in class tomorrow. And then we'll turn it in on Monday. Monday, I'll probably give you your study guide tomorrow, just for those of you that would like to get started on your study guide. We'll do study guides Monday, test on Tuesday. Okay? All right. Before we start, I need everybody's attention. I always like to recognize, like when I have, hold on a second. I didn't even sign it yet. Hold on. And I don't know how many of you people look at stuff in the, on the TV, but if you look at stuff on the TV, you have seen that I have a historian of the month. And I always pick it from different classes for different reasons. And I try to pick people that I can recognize for certain things that they do in class that are above and beyond. And so this person in this class is getting our November Historian of the Month, and it is for her creative approach to history, outstanding work ethic, and going above and beyond on every assignment, and that's Sarah. So Sarah, you are our November Historian of the Month. Congratulations. It's always hard for me because I could pick like 100 people, but you have to get it from my
That's not hard.
Hey, how are you supposed to write what the text message is out? You just like,
Oh, okay.
and then you write this. You have to call your phone number. You have to put like, how are you gonna do it in the message over here? Do you have to put the messages on the phone, or can you put them?
No, you're putting the messages here under number 2.
Okay, where do you put
The
like
only thing that's going on the phone is the wallpaper.
That's what I need. To do.
Yep, that's it.
That is it.
That is it.
What are you doing?
Wallpaper. Yes,
So
sir.
you're gonna be grading on artistic.
No, it is. Drew asked, am I grading your artistic ability? No, it doesn't even necessarily. Here's why I said philosophers, because then you could do like a swirly thingy, and here's Plato's idea of democracy in action. It doesn't necessarily need to be a picture, right?
Have you seen the movie Bill and Ted?
Have I seen what?
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, excellence. Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what my.
sure.
That's what my.
I figured
That is what my travel time thing is based on. But nobody has seen that movie anymore. The first year when I did it, that's what I did it as Bill and Ted's Excellent Wild Adventure, whatever it is. Nobody's seen the movie.
This year, like the third one came out,
Mhm.
and I was asking my dad about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I love that movie. You seen the first one?" I was like, "There's more of them."
Oh,
And so we watched all 3 of them in like 2 days.
the first one's the best, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's a really good movie. You should thank your dad for introducing you to that because it's a really, yeah. Yes.
So for like the description, do you need to get a paragraph or do you just need to explain?
Do what?
So when you have to like, describe what like if I can explain it, do you have to have a paragraph or does it have to be a couple sentences?
Just a couple sentences.
I'm on it. He does that all the time. He's like, "You guys smell that? It's just like clash." It's so funny. She thinks it's funny. I'm sorry.